Your dog has a favorite way to sleep. Maybe you have noticed it without ever thinking too much about it. The specific curl, the sprawl, the position they return to night after night, regardless of how much space they have available. It turns out that position is not random. It is not simply a matter of comfort in the mechanical sense. The way your dog chooses to orient their body during the most vulnerable hours of their day carries information about their emotional state, their physical health, their personality, and the degree to which they feel safe in the environment they are sleeping in. Today we are going through the most common sleeping positions, what each one reveals, what the science behind it says, and what changes in your dog's preferred position might be telling you over time. By the end of this, you will never look at your sleeping dog the same way again. The curl, the most common and the most ancient. The curled position, nose tucked toward the tail, body folded into a tight or loose circle, is the most universally observed sleeping posture across domestic dogs and their wild ancestors alike. The evolutionary logic behind it is straightforward. Curling protects the most vulnerable organs, the soft belly and the vital organs behind the rib cage, while simultaneously conserving body heat through the reduction of exposed surface area. It is the default resting posture of an animal whose ancestors slept in open environments where both temperature regulation and physical vulnerability were genuine concerns. In domestic dogs, the curl is most commonly seen in dogs that are new to an environment, dogs sleeping in spaces they have not fully assessed as safe, and dogs that are naturally more reserved or cautious by temperament. It is the position the body defaults to when it has not yet fully determined that complete physical openness is warranted. A dog that always sleeps curled, even in a familiar stable home environment, may simply have a more cautious or internally oriented temperament. A dog that slept curled when they first arrived in a home and gradually shifted to more open positions over weeks and months is, in behavioral terms, showing you the arc of their growing trust in the safety of their environment. The uncurling is the trust becoming visible in a way that nothing else quite captures. You do not train it, you earn it, and the sleeping body keeps the score. The side, sprawl, the comfort position. A dog sleeping fully on their side, legs extended, body loose and relaxed. This is the position most associated with genuine comfort and emotional ease. The side position exposes the belly partially and leaves the vital organs less protected than the curl. Choosing it requires a baseline assessment that the environment is safe enough to reduce physical guarding. Dogs in chronic stress, in new environments, or with significant background anxiety rarely adopt this position as their primary sleeping posture because the nervous system has not given full permission for it. Dogs that sleep on their side consistently are almost always dogs with a stable, confident temperament and a genuine sense of security in their environment. Research on sleep postures in domestic dogs finds the side position consistently associated with lower baseline cortisol and more time spent in the deeper, more restorative stages of the sleep cycle. The REM stages that produce the twitching, vocalizing, dreaming behavior most owners find endearing. A dog in a full side sprawl, twitching gently, running in their sleep, that is a dog whose nervous system trusts its surroundings so completely that it has given itself permission to fully disengage from environmental monitoring. That is one of the most visible signs of genuine safety and contentment available, and the owners who witness it regularly are, whether they know it or not, receiving one of the most honest compliments a dog can give. The back sleeper, maximum vulnerability, maximum trust, legs in the air, belly fully exposed, head tilted back. The dog that sleeps on their back is adopting the single most physically vulnerable position available to them. Every major organ is exposed. Reaction time to any threat is maximized in the wrong direction. This posture is physiologically the opposite of defensive, which is exactly why it says so much about the dog choosing it. A dog that sleeps on their back is not simply comfortable. They are making a statement, unconscious, involuntary, and completely honest about their assessment of the safety of their environment. Their threat detection system has not just stood down. It has gone completely offline for the duration of the sleep. This position is most commonly seen in dogs with confident, relaxed temperaments who live in environments that have consistently confirmed their safety over a long period of time. It is rarely seen in rescue dogs in the early months of a new home. It tends to appear gradually, as accumulated evidence convinces the nervous system that the full exposure of the back sleeping position is warranted. Temperature regulation plays a role too. The belly has less fur than the back, and exposed paws allow for rapid heat dissipation, making this position useful for cooling. But the thermoregulatory explanation does not fully account for the emotional component. A dog who needs to cool down but does not feel entirely safe will find other ways to manage it. The back sleep requires both physical and psychological permission simultaneously. When you see it, you are seeing both granted at once. The Superman, ready to go. Face down, chin on the floor, legs splayed front and back. The position most commonly called the Superman or the frog dog. This is primarily seen in puppies and in high-energy adult dogs with strong play and activity drives. The body is at rest, in the most literal sense, lying down, but the posture maintains a readiness to spring back into action that more fully recumbent positions do not. A dog in the Superman position can be on their feet in a fraction of a second, compared to a dog in a full side sprawl. This tells you something about the dog's internal state even during rest. Their nervous system has enough surplus energy and drive that the resting posture they choose unconsciously preserves the ability to transition quickly back to activity. It is not anxiety, the body is too relaxed for that, but it is a dog whose engagement with the world is high enough that even sleep is approached with readiness. In adult dogs, the Superman position is often a temperament indicator as much as anything else. Dogs that regularly choose it tend to be high drive, highly engaged, and often more responsive to environmental stimulation than dogs who prefer fully recumbent positions. It is the sleeping posture of a dog whose relationship with the world is fundamentally active rather than contemplative. They are resting, yes, but they are not entirely done with the day. Pressed against you or touching you, the contact sleeper. Some dogs sleep touching their person, not just near them, physically in contact, a paw resting on your leg, a head against your arm, the warm weight of their body pressed to your side. We covered this in depth in the sleeping psychology video, but it belongs in this conversation about what sleeping positions reveal because the contact sleep is one of the most relationship-specific behaviors available. A dog does not sleep in sustained physical contact with someone they are indifferent to. The contact is chosen, maintained through the night even as the dog shifts and repositions, and serves both thermoregulatory and deeply relational functions. Contact sleeping is most commonly seen in dogs with secure attachment to their primary person, in dogs with some degree of anxiety who use physical contact for co-regulation during sleep, and in dogs with high social drive, for whom proximity is itself a primary need rather than simply a preference. The specific quality of the contact matters. A dog that presses against you with a relaxed, heavy body, the full, loose weight of them settled against you, is a dog in genuine ease. A dog that maintains contact while their body remains somewhat tense, that seems to need the contact rather than simply choosing it, is a dog whose contact sleeping is more anxiety-driven than contentment-driven. Both are forms of love, but they point toward different things about the dog's underlying emotional state and what they need from the relationship. What position changes tell you? The position your dog sleeps in on any given night matters less than the pattern across time, and changes in that pattern are among the most useful and underused behavioral signals available to owners. A dog that transitions from always curling to regularly side sprawling or back sleeping over the course of their first months in a new home is showing you, in the clearest possible physical language, that their sense of safety has grown. The body cannot lie about this. The open posture is the open trust made visible. A dog that moves in the other direction, that begins curling tightly when they previously slept openly, that stops back sleeping, that begins pressing against you for sleep contact when they previously slept independently nearby, is often communicating increased stress, anxiety, or physical discomfort before any behavioral symptom becomes obvious enough to identify otherwise. This reversal in sleeping position is one of the earlier signals available, which makes it one of the more valuable ones. It tends to precede the more obvious behavioral changes that eventually prompt owners to investigate. A dog that suddenly starts sleeping more tightly curled, or that suddenly needs physical contact during sleep when they previously did not, is worth paying closer attention to. Not an alarm, but with the attentiveness that the signal is quietly asking for. Your dog's sleeping position is not just comfort. It is a nightly report on everything their life has given them to work with. Watch it with new eyes tonight. Drop a comment. I read every single one. Subscribe. New video every week. See you next time.